So my other question is, do you benefit from white supremacy in any way, shape, or form?
I'm going to need more specifics on what you mean by white
supremacy. Here, let me give it to you then.
Sure.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about this interesting Jubilee debate that featured Ben Shapiro. And this was their Surrounded series, and this one was called One Republican versus 25 Kamala Harris supporters, or voters rather. And there's one specific prompt that we ought to talk about. The prompt was Harris's extreme abortion stance is morally indefensible. That's Ben's claim. And the trans guy that comes to the table, his name is Shane, and he's recognizable from another Jubilee debate. You know, the one with Blair and Blossom. And at the time, it was pretty controversial and for a number of reasons. But before we get started, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really do appreciate all the support.
Wow, okay, we're going to take this chair. Look at that.
Hey, Ben.
Like a bro, my friend. All right.
How's it going?
Let's break open
first question, can men get pregnant?
Men cannot get pregnant.
Okay, awesome. So
definitionally.
Definitionally, okay. Do men experience SA? Sexual assault?
Sure.
Got it. What about the existence of trans men?
What about the existence? Do you mean women who believe that they are men? What are we talking about here? Women experiencing gender dysphoria?
So right away, you know, he comes across to me as being really defensive and putting on this tough guy thing and turning his chair around backwards. And, you know, it just appears very confrontational. And to me, I don't know, it looks like this isn't going to go well. And it's really setting the stage. And he starts in right away about the existence of trans men.
What about the existence of trans men?
And, you know, look, I'm not trying to be mean here, but regarding the far left in particular, like, okay, we all know that you exist. You're the loudest ones in the room. We get it. So, you know, this continued idea that we don't know that you exist, it's just kind of annoying at this point. It sounds very second grade, and it's starting to look like an attention grabber. Like, we see you, we know. It's at a point where they're all alienating themselves through that statement alone.
So my other question is, do you benefit from white supremacy in any way, shape, or form?
I'm going to need more specifics on what you mean by white supremacy.
Here, let me give it to you then.
Sure.
I cannot believe this dude just asked a man with a yarmulke, a Jewish man, if he benefits in any way from white supremacy. Like, I'm sorry, but that was just a really stupid thing to say. And it's a little insulting considering the history. And, you know, did you ever notice that they always throw around words like this constantly? White supremacy, the patriarchy, racism, transphobia, everything's hateful, everything's bigoted. You know, in this strong language, it's being recycled again and again and again. So many times now that these words have just lost all their meaning, and it's actually very dangerous. And these are the same people that sit on the side of words matter. But do they matter?
Please.
So I'm a transgender man.
Okay.
I've experienced SA.
Okay.
And abortion rights affect me directly. So if we're talking about the American dream that you live, why don't I have access to that? Because there's no legislation in the history of America that legislates a man's body. So why does mine have to be legislated? I've got a vagina.
I'm not interested in what your genitalia are.
Clearly you are. I mean, it's all over everything you make, buddy. I'm sorry. I hate to say it to you, but
I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. I think you can read on my face that I radically am not. When we're talking about abortion.
No, I don't. I mean, you can present it here, but in most of the content that you have, you attack my community constantly. And you don't even realize guys like me exist who actually share a lot of similarities to you and everything, because I'm a married man of 20 years.
I mean, he's all over the place. And the prompt is about abortion. He's talking about being a trans man. And the fact that he's been essayed, I feel like he's angry about stuff. And, you know, I guess if, you know, bad things have happened to you like that, I'm sure, yeah. I mean, that would make me very angry too. And I do understand to some degree. I do. as a woman in particular. But then, you know, he's got some stuff that he's dealing with that I don't know that it really has anything to do deep down with Ben Shapiro's opinions. I mean, if he's trying to say he maybe can technically get pregnant, like, okay, so when it comes to abortion rights, these people want to be acknowledged as biological women, but then they also want to be seen as men. And then says that Ben cares so much about what's in his pants. And I'm like,
I
got a
recognize
wife.
that you exist. I disagree with your
Right.
claim
So
that you're
if
a
I
male.
was sexually assaulted, right, and I didn't have access to that abortion care, do you believe that I should have carried that child to term because
What does
I
this
was
have to-
sexually assaulted?
I mean,
No, I just want to make sure that that's what you believe. Because as a transgender man, I have seen your side of the entire political debate, never ever having the conversation of what an American freedom is. Because why am I not allowed to live my American freedom as a man?
why is he not allowed to live his American freedom as a man? He is. He's sitting there on a Jubilee debate in front of Ben Shapiro, but he's simultaneously acting like he doesn't have the freedom as a man to do what he wants to do. I'm sorry. To me, this whole thing was set up and designed to try to make Ben, feel uncomfortable and to rattle his cage
I've got a vagina.
and to go on some attack. Like, I feel like Shane sat there for a long time and planned out what he was going to say to him and how he was going to go to this debate and just blast him.
You get your choice as a man to live and free and all that.
You're really moving around terminology very wildly here,
And so are you, because that's the tactics you play in your game. And you've done it the entire time. You've jumped from one subject to the next. You speak so fast, and I know how you work. So how does it feel to have it in your face?
Well, I mean,
because I'm sick and tired of the shit that you have put against my community, especially Black trans women.
Wait a minute. Now this is about Black trans women? Guys, why do they always pull this card? It just turns into this every time. What are we even talking about now?
Because you constantly disregard all of our needs and then use us politically as a pawn when we're 1% of the population. Why not focus on the economy itself?
Now it's about the economy?
All of us are struggling, and you want to focus on trans people. You want to focus on a Black woman when this is clearly a glass cliff situation. America's falling apart, and let's give it a woman right when it's all falling apart when we'd had, 50 men run it and it looks like shit? Look at where we're at. Surely, where do you think that we're heading? It's so funny to watch white supremacy just fall apart the way that it is, and you ride so hard. Because guess what? In other countries around the world, women are not having children. And why is it? Because of the patriarchy and all the violence that men perpetuate, and all of this idea that abortion is somehow going to solve it all.
And nobody said ending abortion would solve everything. That I've never heard that from the right, that it's like, oh, if we solve abortion, then everything will be right in the world. Or if we end it, everything will be right in the world. I don't think that that's what's going on. I really think it's a difference of perspective and the way people see things and what they think is the moral and just thing to do. And I believe personally that hearing both sides of that conversation are of utmost importance. I don't think it's just solely what the left thinks or solely what the right thinks. I think when it comes to women, I think we should care about all women and not just certain scenarios, because there's scenarios on both ends of the spectrum that are really, 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 really valid. And that's what I've learned from this.
By forcing women to have abortion instead of focusing on the real problems that we're facing in our society, we're just going to completely ignore that. And we're just going to go, you know what? The line item is, let's make women have babies so that we can continue this capitalistic society that we have. Why are we doing that?
This is exhausting. And like I said before, this was very much planned by this individual to just come up there and blast him on that stage. And I don't think it's hitting the way he thinks that it is, other than it's going to briefly make him feel better as a trans man, to let off steam about whatever he's got going on in his mind and, projecting that onto Ben Shapiro. But I mean, I guarantee down the road, as this person fully grows and learns more and heals from whatever is going on in their life, that they're not going to look back and feel so great about this one or think that it was a very constructive thing to do. I just don't feel like this is a way to build bridges. It's not even close. And this is the problem with all these activist types. They think that the way forward is through yelling at people, talking over them, overpowering them. And I mean, honestly, this was such an opportunity for Shane to be constructive with this guy. And, you know, I just think he's blowing it.
What? I mean, why? Because you want to push white supremacy and because you want to make your check? It does great for you. Meanwhile, people like me have to live with the consequences of all of your rhetoric that you put on a daily basis, and including my entire community and the intersectionalities of Black women, men that experience SA, trans people, everyone that comes in. And I'm so sick of the idea that you can come in with this bravado that you're this big guy that knows things because you can talk fast, you have statistics. But
big guy that knows things? I don't know. Listen, I don't agree with everything that Ben Shapiro says, you know, but this description of him as being a big guy that knows things and has statistics, I don't know, buddy, but that sounds more like you right now. You're coming across, you're giving that energy, you're giving that white man misogynistic energy.
Really, what does it really matter at the end of the day if you are harming the entire American? This guy's been accused of rape. Trump.
Here we go about Trump.
In like court documents, and you're backing the guy. Like, you have children. How could you do that to your own? Don't you have a daughter? Like, what is wrong with you, dude? I've never seen such a party just completely like the American idea, what we believe in as a country, is not what you're perpetuating. It's diversity. It's giving you tired, hungry, and poor. The Google phone you have in your pocket is because of all of the diversity we've had. Pleasure to meet you.
Wow. I just have a lot of concern for some of these people. Like, this was pure emotion on Shane's part, and I don't think it was in a good way. It wasn't constructive to me, and honestly, it wasn't anything that I haven't heard a million times from the far left, all the same talking points and all the same stuff wrapped into this giant word salad that was thrown at Ben. Man, and the thing at the end with the handshake, the way he did that, I'm not feeling that. Guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think about Ben versus Shane. I wasn't impressed and didn't feel like it accomplished much, but that's just me.